Hello, my fellow audience. Welcome to the very first episode of the Porter Says podcast. I am your host and only host, Heath. So this is more of a, obviously, as you can tell, an introduction episode. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know what kind of title I was going to come up with, what I was going to talk about, or anything like that. Well, I did have an idea, but I didn't know, what kind of title I could bring to it. So to explain the title real quick, Porter Says, it's the name of my dog, and every once in a while I'll put up a picture of him to express an opinion he has on a certain subject. So this will be a very typical podcast where I talk about film, TV, music, and just life in general. I don't really have any fun things to do just because I don't want to do that in the first episode. I don't want to do anything too complicated or grand. This might be just more of a discussion about what this is going to be. And if there is some editing in here, obviously there's going to be, because sometimes this camera I'm using will probably, not do its thing. So I would like to just start off by saying, this is, I have a little display item. There's probably going to be more throughout. Maybe in the background there'll be a different poster, and maybe I'll have a movie displayed up, which I tried to get this to sit up. This is my copy of Peter Pan from 2003, my favorite movie of all time. Speaking of which, if you can't really see, this is Mr. Porter, what the podcast is named after. I'm deciding if I... You know what? I'll include this. I won't edit this out. He's a good dog. If you see him on the couch, because I think he's about to hop on the couch. So, let's start off with what some of my... What some of my favorite movies are. Because that's what I'm very passionate about. My top 4 favorite movies on my Letterboxd, which, yes, I do have a Letterboxd account, so if you would like to follow that, please do. My top 4 is Peter Pan 2003, as you can tell by what I have. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Big Harry Potter fan right here. Massive Harry Potter fan. We'll probably get into that in some of the later episodes. And then I have Home Alone and Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, because that's probably, by far my favorite in the trilogy. And as good as Return of the King is and Two Towers, to me nothing really beats Fellowship of the Ring. It's introduction into the world and the lore of Lord of the Rings. So I would very much, like to obviously discuss Lord of the Rings at one point. And let's go into TV shows, because, as I said, TV. I don't know if I really have a top 4 or 5, 10 TV shows, because I feel like they change a lot. I would say Smallville is up there. I adore Smallville, if you don't know what that is, which I'm willing to bet a lot of you do. But for those who don't know, it's, the story of young Superman, young Clark Kent, before he, dons the Superman title. It was a show that ran from 2001 to 2011 with Tom Welling as the lead role. If it seems like I'm all over the place, I'm sorry. This is the first episode. I don't really know what to do in terms of stuff like that. We'll see how it goes. What was I going to say? If I look all over the place, I don't really know also where to look with this camera. It's kind of confusing as well. And then in terms of music, music's one of my favorite things. It's become much more of a passion over the last couple of years. I've been really, really getting into music. And in terms of when I listen to a song, the instrumental stuff is important and lyrics, obviously. But I mostly now judge how good the voice is from the artist, how good of a singer they are. I like to go judge that in terms of how nice the voices are to listen to, and what kind of, octaves they're going up. Even though I don't know a ton about that type of stuff, I feel like, that's something to focus on. And then if we're talking about life in general, I don't want to reveal a whole lot about myself but I would say that I'm 24. I turned 24 recently. So, and I'm trying to get my life not on track, because it's on track. But I'm starting this podcast. I'm also going to be starting up like a YouTube channel, which I have 2 accounts now. I have, the Porter Says podcast, which is most likely where this is going to go. I'd also like to get this on different, maybe Spotify, and that's about it. I think Spotify and YouTube would be my main platforms to get this podcast up on. And then my other YouTube account, which is just Etherman, which is kind of like a combination of my love for Spider-Man, I guess. Because a lot of my friends just have decided to start calling me that in the last couple of years. So I've just kind of been using that as a name for a lot of stuff. And I'm not really, doing this to get like massive in terms of, fame or anything and all that. I would like this to become my job. I've been working part-time for my dad's company, and that's kind of coming to an end. So I would like to start this, as a career. It'll take a lot of work, but I think that's a good thing. You got to work and work and work, and eventually it'll pay off. So, no. All right. Porter's made his entrance, and now he's making his exit. Thanks for joining, Porter. Porter says. Okay, that was stupid. Anyway, so, I think my next little career move is to join the content creator world, because that seems to be where a lot of people are going these days. I don't know how many there are in Australia, which if you can't tell, that's where I am from by my accent. I know a lot of people get, the Brits and Aussies mixed up. I don't know why. Maybe there's times where I have a bit of a British accent, but okay. So, what else can I talk about? What else is there? I would love to get some, obviously I would love some feedback on this, because I have a feeling I might get a lot. But I really want this to do well. I really, really, really do. Let's talk about this, actually. As I did kind of mention this before, but this is a gift of mine that I got for my birthday by a good friend of mine. Really, really appreciate her a lot. I won't reveal her name, because I don't want to be like that and just reveal this person's name, and But yeah, it's a really cool Funko Pop of Thor from the Infinity Saga, and supposedly it glows in the dark. I don't know. I haven't been bothered to check, just because I kind of want to keep it protected in this little case, because I'm just a massive geek like that. Yeah. I would also kind of like to actually mention my dad, because he is basically the reason I decided to start this up. Months ago, maybe for the past couple of years, I've been wanting to do a podcast. I just, again, as I said, I didn't know what kind of I wanted it to be, really. I didn't have it fully realized. And then lo and behold, he kind of was like, he saw me watching a YouTube video one day, and he said, why don't you become a YouTuber? I'm like, I don't know. I think I did try that a couple of years ago, and it just didn't seem to be going anywhere. And then he was like, what about a podcast? I'm like, okay. All right, I'll do that. And then, coming up with the idea for it, and then trying to think of a name. And I, for the life of me, couldn't think of a title, at all. And then he came up with, how about Porter Says? I'm like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. That's a good title. And really, he should be here right now, sitting somewhere where you can see him. But I'm giving this mention to him just because, he's my dad and all that. So he is basically, kind of the reason why I am doing this now. It's because I feel like this might be a good, somewhat career move. I know it'll probably take a while for me to build an audience. And I really, really hope that, that I build a decent audience, and I can come up with perks and stuff like that to to give back and all that stuff. And I do have a Patreon that I'm probably going to get some use out of at some point if this does well. So far, this obviously this first episode, I'm kind of all over the place, but you know, it's my first one, and I haven't been on camera for a while. In terms of stuff like this, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes, and I really hope you two, or you guys, really enjoy this. I would also, as I said, I do have Letterboxd, so I would like to quickly go through I've gone through my top 4, but then in terms of my most recent activity, so what I've been watching through the months of September and October, those 2 specific months, because there's like a franchise in here that I was rewatching with Dad, because we watch this franchise at least twice a year. So one of the first things that I watched in September was I got to see Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in theaters on September 1st. And that was Father's Day here in Down Under. Really great experience. You know, I never got to see the first movie back in theaters because I was a baby. So that was great to go see that in theaters with a packed audience and experiencing the very first movie in this wonderful franchise. My favorite franchise of all time. So I watched the first 5 Potter movies throughout the month of September. And I was also watching like a bunch of like Halloween horror-esque films. I always like to start with those in September and kind of go out through all of September and about all of October. I did see Beetlejuice, which was a really good film. In my opinion, better than the first one. Sorry, this is so unprofessional, me looking on my phone, but I feel like I need to. And then, so those are just some of the movies I wanted to mention in September. And then I watched the remaining 3 Potter movies in October. So that's Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Deathly Hallows Part 2. Love pretty much nearly all those movies except for 5. Order of the Phoenix, specifically. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which I watched at the end of September. By far my least favorite movie in the series. So I'll just put it at that. I feel like there's an episode that's going to be dedicated to just that franchise. So stay tuned for that. I really hope you guys do. I want this, as I've said a billion times, I really want this to do well, and I want to put as much effort as I can to make sure my audience enjoys this. If I ever get an audience, which let's hope so. And then in October, I've just actually finished all the Scream movies. I watched all 6 Scream movies. I watch them every year. Through October, I watched Trick or Treat, which is one of the most underrated horror flicks ever. So good. If you have not seen it, please change that. Please change that. I swear to God. In terms of new movies, I saw Venom: The Last Dance, which I had a lot of fun with, and that's getting a lot of hate right now. And I don't understand it, because I thought it was a bit of fun. It's a mess. It really is a messy movie. But I had a lot of fun with it. And that's coming from someone who despises the first 2 so much. Those first 2 Venom movies, I hate so much. I'm not really a fan of this non-Spider-Man Sony movies that they're making. So like Venom 1 and 2, Morbius, Madam Web. You got Craven coming out in December, which looks god-awful. But Venom 3, I'm looking at it right now, I would give like a solid 7 out of 10. So that's like, 3.5 stars out of 5. And I give the first one like, I don't know, 1.5, and the second one got half star. So that was the biggest pain. Yes. So Venom. I hate Venom 1 and 2. I hate Morbius. I hate Madam Web. All those movies. Venom 3 was the only one where I was like, this actually is. It knows what it is. It was the right amount of silliness and stupidity, which was needed. Really was needed for this for this franchise. So if I'm looking down, I'm so sorry. Again, I don't know what to do right now. I'm kind of like somewhat nervous being on camera. There's going to be a lot of editing required in this. So, and I don't really think this episode's going to be all that long. I don't plan it to be that long. So it might be, if I can get it to like 20, 30, 35 minutes at least, or just a bit shorter than that. This is just, again, an introduction to what it's going to be. But yeah, so those are some of the movies I want to mention. I watch a lot of movies, so I can't really mention too many that I've been watching, because I watch a lot, and I do watch a lot of TV shows, obviously, and listen to a lot of music. And in terms of like what I do outside of that, I go to the gym a lot. Obviously, I try to go there and keep healthy and keep in shape as much as I can. And then I hang out with friends, and I go to gatherings or parties, and I drink a little bit, or not a little bit. I do drink quite a lot, but you know, it's not I'm not like a full on like alcoholic or anything, but I enjoy having, you know, drinks with my friends, so and my family, and I'm hoping, you know, they will see this and not kill me. So, yeah. If you want to leave like suggestions and feedback on this episode, I'm willing to hear it and read it. And there's probably going to be a lot of critiques. I don't think not everybody is going to like this, love this, or whatever. There might be people who end up not liking this, and that's fine. I'm just trying to appeal to a certain audience, like in a way that I can get enough of a following where this will go well and get me places. And again, I'm not doing it for fame and fortune. Like, and those are just in many ways, those are just you know, perks that come with doing a job like that. You know, I think if you're not having fun while doing stuff like this, like doing a podcast, doing YouTube, and making music and all that stuff, if you're not having fun while doing it, then it's not really a good career choice in a way. You know, if you're just doing it to get money, then you're not... I mean, obviously the money would be great. And the money, it's great to get that, because, you know, that gets you even further, and you can actually go and like do other stuff. But I think you need to also have fun, and there obviously needs to be a lot of effort put into this stuff. So that's my 2 cents on that matter, I guess. And obviously I don't want to come across as sounding like really, what's the word, up myself or uptight or anything. That's not my intention at all, and I don't intend to like start beefs with anybody, because I don't fully understand really why these beefs online in that community even start. So yeah, that's the basic gist of everything that's in this podcast. It's so far, honestly, this episode is just me rambling, if anything. I have at least 2 more episodes kind of like written and planned in terms of what I'm going to be talking about. I would like to bring up, actually, if we're going back to the movie talk, let me know down below. What are some of your favorite movies and TV shows and artists and music and stuff like that? But also I would like to know what's one movie that you just do not get the hype of. Like, I know this is kind of out of nowhere, but what's a film that came out, whether it's like recently or years ago, that you watch and you're just like, I don't get why people love this. Like, and doesn't necessarily have to be a movie that you like hated. It could be a movie that you think is like okay or you like but you don't love, or it could be a movie that a lot of people like and you're just like, what the hell, I hate this. A big example for me actually is Mean Girls, the 2004 Mean Girls movie. I think it's okay. I don't fully understand why so many like people love it. Well, I do. But it's the whole thing where like people watch it on like October 3rd every year just about, because there's one line where someone goes, oh, what day is it? Oh, it's October 3rd. Okay. I don't really see like why that's a thing. Let me know down below. What are some of your favorite movies and TV shows and artists and music and stuff like that? But also I would like to know what's one movie that you just do not get the hype of. Like, I know this is kind of out of nowhere, but what's a film that came out, whether it's like recently or years ago, that you watch and you're just like, I don't get why people love this. Like, and doesn't necessarily have to be a movie that you like hated. It could be a movie that you think is like okay or you like but you don't love, or it could be a movie that a lot of people like and you're just like, what the hell, I hate this. A big example for me actually is Mean Girls, the 2004 Mean Girls movie. I think it's okay. I don't fully understand why so many like people love it. Well, I do. But it's the whole thing where like people watch it on like October 3rd every year just about, because there's one line where someone goes, oh, what day is it? Oh, it's October 3rd. Okay. I don't really see like why that's a thing. Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. Another movie for me would be, I mean, this is a movie I really like, but when Black Panther came out, everybody was hyping that up. And I walked out going, yeah, that was good. Joker, that's another example. Joker from 2019. People adored that movie. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good film. And Joaquin Phoenix was great. He deserved that Oscar, but it's a movie that you don't really like feel like watching multiple times. Like, I haven't seen it since it came out, and I haven't seen Joker 2 because I don't think I want to waste my time with that, even though I wasted my time watching Madam Web. But that's because like that movie was just hilarious. First off, one of the worst movies ever, probably the second worst movie of the year for me. I'd probably say Mila's Girl with Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega was awful. One of the worst movies I've just ever seen in general. Like, such a disturbing and creepy movie, and just ugh. One more movie before I, kind of sign off on this. No, here comes who should be actually my co-host, Mr. Portaloo. One more movie I really don't get why so many people love is Saltburn. That movie was disturbing on so many levels. Like, it had some good stuff in it, and the performances were great. Don't get me wrong, it was directed well. I just didn't get it. I thought it was just creepy. That's the biggest thing I can say. It's one of the creepiest movies ever. Okay, so that is the end of this episode of the Porter Says podcast, the very first episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. Sorry if it was just me rambling and if I'm kind of looking all over the place, like what the hell do I do, like a squirrel or something. But, as a first episode, I think I did it about as well as I could. And I finally got my camera to function, because I tried recording this yesterday and it just wasn't doing its job. So, yeah, really hope you enjoyed. There's going to be more stuff on display as much as I can get on the table, and there will be a poster in the background, and then in the next episode it might be something different. to kind of give you an idea of what the next 2 episodes are going to be about, the second episode is going to be my favorite teen movies. So movies that have like young adults, young teenagers in it. Won't say what they are. And then the next episode, the third one, will probably be on one of my favorite movies of all time from the year 2000, starring Jonathan Lipnicki. That's all I really say. I mean, I guess most of you could figure that out, but I feel like all of you would be like, what movie is that, Stuart Little? No. So, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.